welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into a substance that, well, you might think you know, but trust me, there's more to it than meets the eye. We're talking about chloral hydrate. Now, that name for many of you probably brings up images of, old movies, powerful sedatives. It definitely has that reputation as a strong hypnotic.
It certainly does.
But our mission today, really, for you listening, is to uncover some of the, well, surprising and frankly counterintuitive ways this compound gets used, especially its unique impact on the body that goes way beyond just making people sleepy.
Exactly. And you're right, chloral hydrate is recognized as a potent hypnotic. It's also a cardiac depressant when you're talking standard medical doses, which are usually around 5 to 20 grains. And it's vital to stress. It should always be used very cautiously in that context.
Right, that makes sense. Standard sedative use.
But, and this is where it gets really interesting, its other effects, the ones less talked about perhaps, become absolutely central in a completely different way of thinking about healing.
Okay, so that physiological baseline is clear. Powerful stuff. But you hinted there's something unexpected. Where does the story go next? Especially with these less expected effects.
Well, it turns out that beyond the sedation, chloral hydrate has a really marked effect on the skin.
On the skin, really. I mostly associate it with, sleep or sedation from those old references.
Yeah, it's quite distinct. We're not just talking a little bit of redness. The sources describe things like erythema, that's significant redness, and even ecchymosis, which is basically bruising.
Wow.
And red blotches too, sometimes even compared to measles. It's a pretty dramatic skin picture.
Okay, so quite a strong reaction.
A very strong reaction. And this effect, this seemingly maybe side effect in standard doses, is precisely what homeopaths observed and really keyed in on. They utilized it with some remarkable success.
So what conventional medicine might see as an unwanted reaction, homeopathy sees as a clue, a signpost.
Precisely. It's a classic example of the core homeopathic idea, like cures like. The substance causes these skin symptoms, so in a highly diluted prepared form, it can be used to treat similar skin symptoms in someone who's ill.
And did this lead to specific uses? You mentioned success stories.
Yes, particularly for hives urticaria, technically. It became known for addressing that intense itching you get with hives.
Okay.
And here's a really specific detail. It's especially noted when the hives are made worse by drinking alcohol or hot drinks.
Worse from hot drinks. That seems unusual.
It is. And get this, the wheals might come on from a chill, but they actually feel better with warmth.
Almost backward.
Oh, almost backward, exactly. It's these kinds of specific, sometimes paradoxical details that are so key in homeopathic prescribing. And it wasn't just hives, it was also noted for purpura, those small purple spots under the skin.
That's fascinating. So the skin reaction is a major clue.
Yeah.
But you said it affects more than just the skin, right? You called it a symphony of symptoms.
Yes, it's not isolated. When you look at the full picture described in the homeopathic sources, you see effects across the whole system. It's this totality, this unique fingerprint of symptoms that points towards chloral hydrate as a potential remedy.
So let's unpack that symphony. What are the kinds of symptoms are we talking about? Mentally? Emotionally?
Now, mentally and emotionally, it's noted for states of intense emotional excitability, but also, paradoxically maybe, for things like very vivid hallucinations.
Hallucinations, wow.
Yes, and even the distress of night terrors, particularly in children. Again, you see this pattern. The substance in its crude form might provoke such states, but in its homeopathic form, it's used to help resolve them.
Okay, what about physical sensations? Headaches, maybe?
Definitely head sensations. There are descriptions of specific morning headaches, often worse in the forehead and the back of the head, the occiput, especially when moving.
But better with?
Better in the open air. That's a key modality. And there's this really striking sensation described as feeling as if a hot band were drawn from temple to temple.
Ooh, that's vivid.
Isn't it? And even the unsettling experience of hearing voices.
Hearing voices, too. Okay, this is broad picture. What about the eyes? Any specific eye symptoms noted?
Oh, yes, quite a few. Eyes described as bloodshot and watery. Visual disturbances too, like seeing circles of light or black spots, and even illusions of sight, particularly when the eyes are closed or at night. There's also this feeling that the eyeball feels too large.
That's a strange sensation.
It is, and here's a really peculiar one. The perception that everything looks white.
Everything looks white. That's incredibly specific. How does that fit in?
It's just another one of those very distinctive features in the remedy's profile, another piece of that fingerprint.
Okay. And physically beyond the head and eyes.
Physically, there's mention of profound muscular prostration, just deep weakness, and this alarming description: the surface of the body stone cold.
Stone cold, like literally.
That's the description. It points to conditions where someone experiences the severe chill and exhaustion, a deep systemic impact.
And breathing. Does it affect breathing?
It does. Respiratory distress is key. Extreme dyspnea, that's severe shortness of breath, often with a feeling of weight or constriction in the chest.
So difficulty breathing, chest tightness.
Exactly. And it's even been used for asthma, especially asthma that comes with sleeplessness.
Which brings us back to sleep, interestingly.
Right back to where we started, in a way. But from the homeopathic angle, it's not about forcing sleep like the crude drug does. It's about addressing paradoxical sleep issues.
Like insomnia.
Insomnia, yes, or having horrid dreams, nightmares, even excessive sleepiness, somnolence sometimes. It's about using the substance's known power over sleep, but in that highly diluted form, to address imbalances related to sleep, gently guiding the system back.
So with all these different symptoms, skin, head, eyes, breathing, sleep, are there factors that consistently make things worse? The modalities, as they're called.
Yes, the key worsening factors or aggravations are noted as being after hot drinks, stimulants, eating, and at night.
There's the hot drinks again, link you back to the hives.
Exactly, it reinforces that specific sensitivity, consistency across the symptom picture.
And are there antidotes listed? Things that might counteract its effects.
The sources mention a few. Ammonium, atropine digitalis, and moscus are listed as potential antidotes.
Okay, now comparing it to other substances, this is always interesting. Does it share patterns with other remedies?
It does. There are comparisons to some well-known ones like belladonna, opium, and apis. Useful cross-references.
Standard comparisons, anything more unusual?
Yes, this is where it gets quite fascinating. There are comparisons drawn to two other substances, veronal and luminal.
Veronal. The source calls that a dangerous drug.
Right.
Linked to alcohol, causing drunkenness, staggering. Sounds similar in effect.
Very similar in that respect. And veronal also has specific skin symptoms listed, like confluent reddish spots and dermatitis. So you see a parallel there affecting coordination in the skin.
Interesting overlap. And luminal.
Luminal, which is phenobarbital, is linked in the sources to sleeplessness, skin symptoms that appear with migraines, and even a deep lethargy that was compared to epidemic encephalitis.
Wow, that connects quite disparate conditions.
It really does. It shows how homeopathy looks for these underlying patterns of symptoms, connecting conditions that might seem unrelated on the surface, all through the lens of how the body is expressing the disturbance. It's about matching the pattern.
So, bringing this all together, we've gone from the powerful sedative to these very specific homeopathic uses. How is it actually applied in homeopathy? Is the dosage different?
Yes, the application is quite specific. For hives, the sources often suggest the first trituration. That's a particular level of homeopathic preparation involving grinding and dilution.
Okay.
For most other conditions, generally higher potencies are used, meaning much greater dilution. But then there's also a unique local use mentioned.
Local use.
A 1% solution used as a wash for offensive foot sweat. Very specific.
That is specific.
And of course, just to reiterate, this is distinct from the physiological doses of 5 to 20 grains used for sedation, which absolutely require medical supervision.
Got it. Different worlds, really.
Different worlds, different intentions. And that, I think, sums up the journey with chloral hydrate quite well. This deep dive really shows how even a substance known primarily for one powerful effect, like sedation, can have these other layers, these other applications based on effects that, in another context, might just be dismissed as side effects.
Yeah.
Like the skin reactions becoming key therapeutic indicators in homeopathy.
Absolutely. It flips the script, doesn't it? Seeing a side effect become the primary reason for use, it really broadens your perspective on how substances interact with our bodies.
It truly does.
It shows that understanding the whole picture, the full spectrum, from the hypnotic effect to the subtle skin remedy, gives us a much richer appreciation. So a final thought for you, our listener, to maybe chew on. How many other substances out there, maybe common ones, maybe obscure ones, hold these kinds of surprising dualities, these hidden connections waiting to be explored? And what does it tell us when a drug's quote-unquote side effects actually become its main strength in a whole different approach to healing? Something to think about.